Hi, this is Steve Cochran for David Hochberg, the title sponsor of Live from My Office and Team Hochberg. Right now, interest rates have come down a bit, but they're still high. Having said that, life happens. People are still going to need to buy homes. And when you buy homes, you're going to need a mortgage. And when you need a mortgage, who would you turn to? There's a million options and a ton of advertising and promotion. That advertising and promotion sometimes is less than honest. You know what you'll never get from Hochberg? Less than honest. Sometimes, I'd argue, he's too honest, but he actually wants to save you money. So even now, with these interest rates being what they are, if you have to do a mortgage, there's only one place I would call, the place I've recommended to my sister, to my son and my daughter, the place I've used and they've used. It is Team Hochberg, David Hochberg. They're the people to get it done. And by the way, if you're a company HR benefits manager, he's doing a new thing, an affinity program that it's free, and it's another great way to incentivize future hires at a time when more people need great people to come to work for them. What are you offering them? This is a great benefit. Again, doesn't cost you a thing, and it's going to help your new employees get themselves mortgages and the best mortgage help from David Hochberg and Team Hochberg. So you HR benefit managers, ask about it at 855-56-DAVID or 56david.com. Team Hochberg and David Hochberg, they're getting it done. Put your money where your mouth is. Mm-hmm. Pastor Corey Brooks puts his fanny where his, well, that doesn't work really as an analogy, does it? The man up on the roof is actually trying to save lives and change things. Always a pleasure to say welcome to the show, Pastor Corey Brooks. Nice to talk to you again.
Hey, Steve, thanks for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
Are you on the roof? Are you off the roof? Where are you?
Well, I'm on my way to a speaking engagement at Olivet College, and then I'll be back on the roof when I return.
Explain to people who don't know the story why you've been doing this rooftop thing.
Well, I've been on the roof for well over 170 days now, bringing attention and awareness of the violence in Chicago, but most of all to raise money to build a community center that is desperately needed in an area that was a really violent area. So we've raised thus far $18.5 million. Our goal is $35 million.
It's tremendous.
Build it debt free. So
that's tremendous, dude. That's tremendous. You're more than halfway there, and I'm sure the roof is getting old, but good for you for doing it.
Real old. We're hoping that on October 29th we're going to be breaking ground, so that's going to be the final day that I'm going to be on the roof. So there is an end in sight.
What's the worst weather you've had since you've been on the roof?
Well, I think the heat sometimes is a little unbearable, but you know the winters, the snow. The rain, all of them are tough. The rain, the snow, the heat, those are some tough elements.
But after 135 days, you're probably getting into a routine on the roof, you know?
Oh, easy for you to say. You're not on the roof.
I know it.
Yeah, I'm in a routine, but you know, I'm always thankful when I get the opportunity to go down, like when I have to go somewhere and go meet a donor for a donation or something like that. But it's been a tough thing. I wouldn't want to do it again.
No.
And but I'm doing whatever it takes to get this center up.
Pastor Corey Brooks, founder and senior pastor at New Beginnings Church, and also founder and CEO of Project H.O.O.D, Community Development Corporation, which is, of course, behind the rooftop and trying to get all of this done. You know, there's a immediate, a midterm, and a long-term solution to every problem. And a lot of people go, well, you know, the gun violence thing, we got to give opportunity, and we got to take better care of the schools. And, you know, it's all well thought out. It's all well true, but it's not the immediate solution. And Pastor Corey Brooks, you and I have talked before many, many, many times, and I remember having a conversation with you where at that point a lot of people were saying, well, you know, when the violence comes to Michigan Avenue, this is all going to stop. Well, we found out that's not true either. Is this a law enforcement problem? Is it a community problem? Is it a little bit of everything? What's your take on it?
You know, it's a little bit of everything, but first and foremost, it's a home problem. You know, we have 70% of our households are single-parent households, and that we have women who are doing the best that they can to raise a lot of these young boys who are growing up angry and hostile in violent environments. And so we have to do a better job at assisting these mothers with these young boys. That's a have to, a must. Then, our educational system right in our neighborhood, we have a school with 4% reading proficiency, 6% math proficiency. That will not keep us going.
No, it's unacceptable.
Yeah, it's unacceptable. And so we have a lot of things that we need to contend with. But at the end of the day, our community has to take responsibility for our community. We cannot allow people to just take over our community and run rampant and unharnessed with all this evil. We have to do something about it, and we can't wait for government to come in and save the day, because that's not going to happen. And so as a community person, we have to do a much better job. There's a lot of things that have to be worked on.
We talk about policing all the time, and I'm a huge supporter of the police because 99% of the police are trying to do the right thing.
Absolutely.
Talk about what the police do in the neighborhoods, in some of the poorest and toughest neighborhoods, and trying to build trust.
Yeah, anyone who thinks that the police don't have a tough job in our community is sadly mistaken. They have a really tough job, and right now trying to build that trust back, trying to build relationships is a really tough thing for them to do, but they're doing the things that are necessary to try to build those relationships. They're actively getting engaged in the community. They're having community meetings. They're going to community meetings. We see officers a lot on our street that we now know. There used to be a time where we didn't really know who the officers were, but now they get out the cars, they walk the beats a little bit. They're parked in certain areas, and so they're doing the things that are necessary to build these relationships so that we can build the trust, so that we can have the community that we should, and so we can support the police the way that we should.
And Pastor Brooks, 55 people shot over Labor Day weekend. It seems that the news is always shocking when we hear things like that, but we're getting desensitized to it all, although it's not stopping. How can we help? Those of us not on the roof, how can we help with a plan for peace moving forward?
I think one of the things you just mentioned is about people being desensitized. So we have to constantly keep it before people to let them know that this is not normal. This is not something that we should get used to and that we should just accept as normal behavior. We have to constantly keep people aware that this is a problem that needs to be dealt with. And then we have to, I believe, support, like you're doing, support organizations like ours that's trying to do something about the violence at a grassroots level. I think we need that type of support. We need to spread the word. And then just all of us, all hands on deck. I think it's something that all of us need to be aware of, and all of us need to be a part of the solution.
Yeah, and again, it's redundant for me, but I don't care. I've said it a million times. I don't care if you live in the richest neighborhood in Chicago or the poorest neighborhood in Chicago. You want mostly the same thing. You want to get up in the morning. You want to not have to worry about your kids getting safely to school and back home. You don't want to worry about crime. You want to be able to do the best you can and maximize not just your life, but your kids' lives. And that should be the standard that we shoot for. Are you getting enough help from the city itself and City Hall?
I believe everything rises and falls on leadership, and I tell everyone that all the time, that you can't just take it when it's good, but you have to accept it when it's bad. And so when things are not going good in this city, that's a leadership issue that we have to contend with. And so we do not get the support that we need. For instance, we've been trying to, our organization does some great work. Our area, the Chicago Sun-Times said, was the most dangerous area in all of Chicago in 2014. Now we're not even in the top 30 as far as shootings are concerned. We do the work. We have had trouble getting a meeting with the mayor. We haven't been able to get to the mayor. These other organizations are getting meetings scheduled, but we have not been able to do that. And it saddens me because I really don't understand that. But everything rises and falls on leadership. So they have to take responsibility for everything that's going on in our city, the good and the bad.
We're going to talk to state's attorney later on about the no cash bail thing and the difference that's going to make. There's a lot of concern, obviously, and a lot of it warranted. Some of it may be politics, but we'll be kicking it around. There are stories. Everybody's stories are individual, but where do you fall on the bail thing?
Well, I'm not. I don't know yet. All I know is this: that I prefer for people to have to not need bail. I want to stop crime, and so I think that's the first and foremost thing that we need to focus on. trying to put people in a position where they're not committing these crimes. And then when they do commit these hideous crimes, they don't need any bail. They shouldn't get any bail. Go to jail and do your time and, pay the penalty. But right now, I'm not really sure where I stand on that issue.
You sure we can't get you to run for mayor?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've learned never say no.
Well, listen, I appreciate your clear-headed, straightforward, speaking always about the situation we're all in. If we want to help you get off the roof, where can we do that?
They can go to projecthood.org. Right now, we're in a fight with HostGator because our site has been down for like 4 days. And so I'm starting to battle them on Twitter. But hopefully by this morning, by work time, it'll be back up. But projecthood.org is our site. And they can always mail it to 6620 South King Drive, Chicago, Illinois.
All right, buddy. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Bless you. Thank you so much.
I tell you what, every time I talk to Pastor Corey Brooks, I'm impressed.
I'm so impressed. Yeah.
He calls out people who need to be called out. He gives credit where it is and doesn't try to say things he doesn't feel he understands.
Right, exactly.
I don't know. He just seems like he gets it.
Yeah.
Late summer and fall, great times to play golf at Cantini Golf Course. Customer service first and always at Cantini. It's funny because I played a golf course, a very well-regarded golf course, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, I guess now, and it didn't get great customer service. And it just made me appreciate what Terry Hanley and his crew do at Cantini even more. They just give you the best with 27 great holes of golf. Amazing flowers all over the place, by the way. It's a visual treat is what it is. And the Woodside, Lakeside, and Hillside Nines each have distinct identities that'll challenge your game no matter how good you are or whether you're just getting started. Cantini, 5-time host of the Illinois State Amateur Championship, as well as many other regional and a couple of national events as well. Named Best New Public Course when it opened in 1989. And still, all these years later, being awarded again and again and again with all the great public and private courses in Illinois, always ranked amongst the top Illinois golf courses. And recently, the people at Kemper Sports that manage some of the best golf properties in America picked Cantini as their best property in the last year. So hats off to Terry Henley, and we haven't even finished 18 yet. The Red Oak Club is great, too, at Cantini Golf. You can join it for free and earn points towards all sorts of rewards. Sign up in a golf shop or call them up at 630-260-8197. Play golf late summer and this fall at Cantini Golf Course. And tell them we sent you. 630-260-8197. 630-260-8197 or cantinigolf.com. I haven't talked to Jim Glasgow in a long time, but one of the things I really like about him, he's a Chicago guy. He's tough. He's tough. Jim always has this sort of expression on his face like, I've just about had it. Why don't you try and push me another inch or two? And he's been getting it done as the Will County State's Attorney forever. As a matter of fact, I think, Jim, am I right about this? Aren't you the longest-serving State's Attorney in history?
I think so, Steve.
Nice to talk to you again.
Good to talk to you.
Yeah, and I meant what I said. It's a compliment to you because you're serving the people as you were asked to do. Now, we might as well jump right in here, and I hope your head won't explode immediately, but give us a basic cash bail explanation and why this Safety Act is a problem.
Well, I'm not in love with cash bail, Steve, and the state of New Jersey back in 2014 did a referendum to their voters, and they've changed how they detain people, but they wrote the laws so that the prosecutors, the judges, and the police who are trained and who are there to protect the public can do it logically and reasonably. And all the violent offenders are held for a sufficient amount of time so that the prosecutor can prepare a case and prove the person guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Under this new law, we have 90 days. If the offender demands trial, we have to get to trial in 90 days. And that, if every defendant demands speedy trial, which I would assume they will, we'll be running around like chickens with our head cut off trying to get to trial before we even have all of our evidence. And so, again, I'm not against changing some of the things we've been doing in the past. We have obviously modified a number of our statutes, Steve, where people get money credit for every day they're in jail, $dollars a day. And so, and no one in the Will County Jail is being held for oppression. There's a reason why they're in there. And there's over 600 people in the Will County Jail. And one of the things that the legislators weren't told during that pressure cooker lame duck session that our friend Mr. Madigan put together, where they only had a couple of days to sit through 800 pages on this bill, they weren't told that the jails would be emptied. Now, all I can tell you is that Will County is a pretty safe place right now, Steve. But if you let all the people that are in the Will County Jail out, and we'll only be able to move to detain a small number of them, maybe 20, 25%, and we won't be successful in all of those. And then once they're detained, it's only for 90 days.
Well, this is the thing, Jim, that just is so maddening. And this is a Kim Foxx and Chief Judge Tim Evans thing, as far as I'm concerned, just to boil it down to the simplest terms. And it's this: crime is not a social experiment. I don't care if you're black, brown, white, yellow, purple, green. I don't care what color you are. I care about the fact that you are a criminal. And there are crimes where not only should you not be let out, you should not be let out with an ankle bracelet. And it's just outrageous to me. And how could this not go poorly?
Well, it's funny. I don't know if you remember back on June 6th what Mayor Lightfoot said. And she said, if we hold dangerous, violent people accountable, we will see a significant drop in violence in our cities. And she said, we need to lock up violent people and not put them out on bail or electronic monitoring, and back into the very same communities where the brave souls are mustering the courage to come forward and say, this is the person responsible.
Right.
And Steve, the murders in Chicago, I think in the black communities, the arrest rate's only about 20% on those murders because the people in the neighborhoods are terrorized.
Right.
They're afraid to come forward. And, that's the one thing in Will County. I protect my victims. I've got a number of victims that we paid to relocate, and then the other victims are protected because the offenders are in the Will County Jail.
What a novel concept, protecting the victim.
Yes. Well, and it's in the Constitution, for crying out loud. It says, one of the things that they overlooked here is that you cannot abolish bail by statute. It's in the Constitution of the state of Illinois. And Steve, we know that those legislators are very savvy about referendum because they did one for the variable tax so they could get their hand in our pocket. That didn't work. And now they have another one on the ballot now, the Workers' Rights Act. So they know all about how to do a proper referendum to amend the Constitution. But during this pressure cooker session, they didn't have time. And so that's looming on the horizon.
And that's why we're in the situation we're in. Let me get Jane in here. Jane.
Well, okay, so it seems to me that having no cash bail is going to lead to more crime. But then I was reading that other states like Nebraska and Indiana, New York, they're all enacting bills to change their cash bail systems. So what's the upside to no cash bail? Doesn't seem like there is one.
Well, again, like I said, please, when we hang up here, pull up the New Jersey system.
Right.
They took their time, and they did it in cooperation with the experts who understand prosecution. The state's attorneys in Will County or in Illinois weren't consulted on this. If Anita Alvarez or Dick Devine had been the state's attorney in Cook County, this law wouldn't have stood a chance. It needed a Kim Foxx vacuum in order for that to happen. It's really sad. And, again, I'm just a simple kid. I was born at St. Vincent's Maternity Hospital and Infant Asylum in Chicago. And I've always adhered to there, but for the grace of God go I. And in my career, I've done as much to help at-risk kids as I have to pulverize the violent killers and rapists.
Right.
There's a balance there. And as you said, Steve, so I'm not out to pulverize everybody. And nobody, because I've been here for 7 terms, nobody has accomplished more than I have in working with rehabilitation and at-risk kids. my problem-solving courts here are the best in the state of Illinois. And our judges in Will County are fair and decent, and they're always balancing the rights of the defendant in light of the protection of the public, and they do it in a very fair way.
And it's being said to you by a Democrat. So just keep in mind, he doesn't care if you're Democrat or Republican. He cares about doing the right thing. It's one of the reasons I like Jim. Obviously, it's one of the reasons. Now, the other thing I want to bring up to you, though, in regards to this, as we go forward, what can the public do? Is this horse left the barn? Is there any way for us to put the genie back in the bottle and all the other cliches?
Well, I hope, look, every single person, even the people who wrote this, should be afraid of what the results are going to be. I mean, look at the city of Chicago compared to Will County and the violence. And the gang members from Cook County, they came down here a few times, but Steve, they're in the Will County jail now, and that message got back north, and they don't come anymore. But once this new bill goes into effect, I won't have that authority. And you wonder, why would you have the most lenient criminal law in the country in the state where we have the most violent city in the country? New York is 3 times larger than Chicago. Last year, they had 485 murders to 800 in Chicago. And carjackings, New York, with 9 million people, had 511 carjackings. Chicago had 1,800.
That's ridiculous.
And for what it's worth, I've got a Chicago carjacker in my Will County jail. He made the mistake of fleeing to Shorewood, Illinois. He's in the Will County jail on $1 million bond. If he had been arrested in Chicago, he'd be out carjacking as we talk.
Yeah, and it's funny. I know this from knowing cops. Cops will tell you if they get in a chase and they go to Will County, they feel pretty good about it. They've radioed ahead. You got him now, and they're going to be okay. Same thing in Indiana. Indiana will put them away as well. Catch the bad guys, put them away. Let justice do what justice does. That's all you want? That's it. Last question, Jane.
Well, okay, one of the other changes coming to the Safety Act, they're saying the new law bans arrest for people accused of misdemeanors. So what happens? The police write a ticket and leave if someone is, arrested with a misdemeanor?
Wow, this is going to be a disaster. The law says that if you call and you got a trespasser in your front yard, the police will come. If the guy presents a valid ID, which they don't define what that is, then the officer will write a summons and tell him to leave, but maybe he won't, and there's really nothing the officer can do. And think about that on a larger scale with disorderly conduct, criminal trespass in public places. We'll have civil disorder everywhere.
Yeah,
it'll make you feel safe.
Right, it's over. It's over. No, it's over. I mean, you're talking about, and it comes down to these nonsensical arguments that Jim's office and cops have to be banging their heads against the wall. It's like, well, let's not have any laws then.
Right, exactly. But then why are they making these changes? If we're not going to actually prosecute people who violate the law, then why are we doing it? And there was a nuance you brought up in the beginning, Jim, and I don't want to lose this, and I say nuance only because it can get lost. There's a constitutional provision that has existed forever to a speedy trial. But a speedy trial can only happen by definition of speedy. And in towns and municipalities and cities that don't have enough money to hire all the people they need to get that speedy trial done in the speediest of fashions, you can get jobbed by attorneys who come in and do continuances and various other legal tricks that create problems. There is no fast track way to do justice appropriately. Is that true?
Yes, and again, if you look at the New Jersey system, the prosecutor has 90 days to indict the offender while he's in custody if he qualified for detention. Then they have 180 more days for the speedy trial. Basically here, if somebody demands trial, I have to give them trial in 90 days or they walk out of the jail. And here's the kicker, Steve, no more warrants. Yeah. They've tied the judge's hands.
Right.
So if somebody killed 10 people and they get out on the 90-day rule and they don't come back to court, we cannot get a warrant. We have to get a rule to show cause, which is an invitation to a tea party.
It's just insanity.
The police will not serve those. I'm telling you right now, if I was a police officer, I wouldn't go near trying to serve a murderer with a rule to show cause because I don't have the qualified immunity that you'd have with probable cause for a warrant. I can't use force. I can't get the SWAT team. I have to knock on his door while he shoots me through the door.
This is why you've got to vote. This is why you got to get involved. And if you truly believe your safety and your family's safety and your community's safety matters, you have to demand that the people you're voting for get it. And literally tell their offices, I want an explanation of this and that related to crime and related to prosecuting crimes. Anyway, Jim, you took a lot of time with us today. I really appreciate it. I hope you'll come back.
Steve, thank you very much.
All right. That's so, I told you, listen.
It's frustrating.
Will County State Attorney Jim Glasgow.
Yeah, he's great.
Don't mess with him. Don't mess with him.
I was scared over the phone.
Team Hochberg, David Hochberg, rates are not your friend now. No, even if they've dropped a bit, rates are not your friend. You know what else isn't your friend? Is actually your enemy. Is waiting. I mean, let's face it. Life, in the reality of life happens. People are moving to Chicago every single day, moving to Illinois every single day, and they need homes. And the whole housing bubble thing has kind of changed. You could make money selling your house now, but then you got to figure out where to live. Like all of these questions, all of these quandaries, all of these mysteries of life are surrounding the biggest investment in your life, your house. They can all be answered by David Hochberg and Team Hochberg. Let me tell you about an example. Jamie, 70, a limo driver, business got crushed by the pandemic, was living off credit cards. The stress of not working and credit card debt really made Jamie physically ill, so he called Team Hochberg for a reverse mortgage consultation. Jose Rodriguez, the reverse mortgage expert at Team Hochberg, walked him through it and helped him secure a reverse mortgage, paid off his mortgage, eliminated his credit card debt, reduced his payments $2,500 a month. So before calling Team Hochberg, stress and physical ailments were the rule of the day. After calling Team Hochberg, Jamie secured a reverse mortgage, eliminated that debt, saved $30,000 a year. Team Hochberg's done the same for me and the Live from My Office listeners. Many of you have already been in. Just pick up the phone and call them. I mean, they're not psychics. They're really good at saving you money, but they can't help you if you don't call. Don't wait. Don't wait. Ask them about refis. Ask them about a way to help pay off your debts and use your home in the process. You know, you got equity sitting there, and you may need it now. 855-56-DAVID or 56david.com. You've got questions, they've got answers, and there are no stupid questions. Tune in to their radio show, Home Sweet Home Chicago, hosted by David, at Saturday mornings after House Smarts on WGN Radio at 10 a.m. Meanwhile, Homeside Financial is an equal housing lender, NMLS number 1124061.
Thank you for listening to Live from My Office, a service of Monkey Run Productions. All rights reserved. The podcast is hosted by Steve Cochran, and it's mixed, edited, and produced by me, Ross Cochran. Steve is available for corporate speaking gigs. He would love to MC your event, and occasionally, he's funny. Thank you for listening. Head to cochranshow.com for more.